Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. Learning dspy, Episode 6 of 15. You run an optimizer to improve your language model pipeline, but it achieves a perfect score on the very first try. You look closer and realize you accidentally fed the target answers directly into the prompt. To treat language models like traditional machine learning components, you need an airtight way to manage your training, dev, and test sets without leaking answers. Managing data with examples in dspy handles exactly this. In dspy, the foundational data structure is the example object. You use it to build all of your datasets. On the surface, it acts a lot like a standard Python dictionary. You create one by passing in key-value pairs that represent your data. Take a summarization task. You create a new example object and give it two fields. You assign a long string to a field called report and a short string to a field called summary. You can read these values back at any time using standard dot notation, requesting the report field or the summary field directly from the object. It is common to treat the example object as just a Python dictionary wrapper, but using a plain dictionary will break the compilation process. When you pass a dataset to a dspy optimizer, the compiler needs to separate what goes into the pipeline from what is used to score the pipeline. It requires explicit boundaries between the input data and the expected answers. This is where it gets interesting. The example object controls these boundaries with a specific method called withInputs. When you instantiate your example containing the report and the summary, you chain the withInputs method at the very end. You pass it the string report. This explicitly tags the report field as the input data. Any field you do not specify in this method automatically becomes a label. The optimizer now knows it must only send the report to your pipeline. The summary remains entirely hidden during inference. Once you have a single example configured, you group multiple examples into standard Python lists to form your training, dev, and test sets. Because dspy frames prompt engineering as a machine learning optimization problem, having these clearly partitioned datasets is a strict requirement. When the optimizer runs your pipeline over the training set, it processes one example at a time. It strips out the labels, feeds the inputs forward, captures the generated output, and then evaluates the result. When you write custom evaluation metrics, you will need to access these separated fields. The example object provides two methods for this extraction. Calling the inputs method returns a dictionary containing only the data you marked as inputs. Calling the labels method returns a dictionary containing the hidden target data. Your evaluation function calls the labels method to retrieve the target summary, compares it against the generated text, and assigns a score based on how well they match. Properly configuring your example objects guarantees that your pipeline actually learns to map inputs to outputs. The strict separation of inputs and labels prevents data leakage during optimization, making sure your system improves rather than just memorizing provided answers. Thanks for listening. Happy coding, everyone.